Well met, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to the World Championship Series Global Finals. We have one more match to bring you, one more player to be eliminated. I'm Nathaniel, joined on the couch by Rotterdam and In Control. You guys love watching players get knocked out of $700,000 prize pool tournaments, don't you?
It's heartbreaking, actually. It's really hard to cast it because you just feel terrible.
I just want everybody to win.
Yes. Why don't we
can't
just
we all
divide
get
it?
Why can't
16
everybody
way.
get $280,000?
700,000 split
I mean,
by...
if Stastosis can, why can't we?
Well, we've had a very exciting day of games so far. Of course, we just saw Snoot become the first player to get eliminated, and this next match is, well, it's going to be quite a doozy. Nerchio facing off against Rogue. He didn't exactly have the greatest series ever in his series against Sue earlier today, and now he finds himself potentially another quick one away from getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be Snoot that gets eliminated in that best of three, but man, did he make it look close. Can Nerchio do the same here? Because again, Nerchio Rogue, it's supposed to be Nerchio. We should all come to grips with that, but this this first day has an uneasy feeling for these Koreans. The look on Stat's face, I'm going to go to sleep with a little, I'm going to wake up, you know, like fear for my Protoss brothers, and there's only 3 of us left.
Stats love nightmares about Hydralisks.
He should after that. Man, that was Snoot, man. He played good.
Yeah, just to go on about what Jeff just said, I mean, no matter how good Rogue is, and we saw over the last few months that he's one of the absolute best StarCraft players in the world, he's only human, and you don't want to start off your global finals like this. Already elimination match. ZVZ is is random. Obviously, it's not all random because we see the same guys, guys win very often. But it is scary, especially entire tournament live on the line. You've been working towards this moment this entire year. If Nerchio can take a 1-0 lead, I mean, even if you're Rogue right then, you're gonna feel very, very uncomfortable.
And I did some research on this upcoming match.
Did you
Nerchio,
crunch
when he
the
lost,
numbers?
he said, yeah, I always crunch the numbers, Nate. You know that. Nerchio said the only reason he lost, or the big reason he lost, was because of lack of confidence. And he said he's going to fix that for the future.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Confidence, a big factor. Of course, we have the standings of Group B so far. Neeb with that phenomenal hour-and-a-half total series length match against Rogue to knock him in the lower bracket. And then Sue, who made quick work of Nerchio in their game to kick off this group. So that'll be a very exciting match to see. Of course, a lot of people cheering for Neeb. He showed that dominating performance. And now, the potential here for another one of our foreign players to be clipped out.
This is a fun one, by
16.
the way. Kevin touched on this earlier with the cup of noodles comment that the Koreans are actually very fired up about Nerchio because of GSL versus the World, where I think it was an interview or two or a couple of comments that Nerchio made its way to kind of the Korean netizens and
also on Team Liquid.
This man has no honor.
Also on Team Liquid. Nerchio's just been active for a while, basically saying like, hey, you know, you guys should stop. We're actually super close to the Koreans, and we're pretty much just...
I don't think those were the comments. That
those ones get big.
He's not like, hey guys, we're really good too. And they're like, well, we don't like you, Nerchio. I don't think it was that.
No, you know, it went just overtime, but I think that's first best of 3 of the day. Nerchio looked incredibly good in game number 1. He did everything right he could have done right against that aggressive opening from Sue. And we're like, all right, this looks super promising. Unfortunately, in game number 2 and 3, I mean, those were just pretty short one-sided games in the other way. Can he do what he did in game 1 for an entire best of 3? That's the big question.
It's tough, too, because Rogue got to watch that ZVZ, I think. I don't, you know, he had his own match coming up, so I don't think he was, like, super invested in it. But he definitely, you know, he was able to go back there and kind of ask. And I don't think Nerchio's going to come out with, you know, something very different from that. It's going to be pretty similar.
Do we see the series overall being very similar then? A lot of aggression coming out of Rogue, Nerchio trying to handle this, or?
I think Rogue is going to play a little more solid. I mean, Sue was probably not that scared yet, because even in a bizarre world where he would have lost at best of 3, he's not down and out just yet. Even though in a group with Neeb and Rogue, you really don't want to play the lower bracket match. But I don't think that Rogue is going to risk his entire tournament live on a 12 pool or aggression. I think Rogue is going to be more defensive than Snoo was.
It's that, like, I agree with Kevin, but it's that amazing moment where he's like, I don't think he'll 12 pool, and literally that is going to be the first build now because he said that.
So how do you think Nerchio will deal with the 12 pool in Control?
Well, you know, it was unfortunate because I think the staple of Nerchio's style is he has some of the best lings you'll see in the non-Korean scene. But that first series, the first 2 games, it was only the 3rd game that Roach has even made an appearance, but it was kind of the ling stage where Nerchio fell behind, getting his 3rd cancel, just not exchanging well. Anyways, we're in the series. This is going to be a great one. I can't wait.
All right, well, we're going to go straight into Rogue versus Nerchio.
What's up, guys? We're Tastosis, and we're going to be going into our final match of the day. A very exciting ZVZ. Let's introduce our players. Down here in the bottom right, in the blue, our non-Korean player, Nerchio. Yeah. Oh. And his opponent. Some are saying he is the best Zerg in the world right now, despite that crazy series against Neeb, where he barely managed to not win. In the upper left, in the red, it is Rogue.
Who?
Okay, so I got something to say right off the bat, man. The difference in the series that Nerchio played to get here and Rogue played to get here are huge, and I think we can just emphasize the length of time that those two series took. It's going to be tough to top anything that Rogue Neeb put out. After seeing that
was insanity.
It was out of this world. So I do wonder if Rogue is going to be a little bit more fatigued than Nerchio here.
You would think so. Nerchio's had a while to kind of recover and think about his match. But at the same time, I'm looking at these builds, and Nerchio's gone hatch first against a very aggressive opening here from Rogue. So there is some potential that Rogue might be able to end this game early if Nerchio's defense is not just completely on point.
Okay, Baneling's Nest now going down here for Rogue, and you can see he's banked up a decent amount of the Lings. He has not sent them out here on the map so that if an Overlord does spot it or anything else scouting does spot it, it'll spot it at the last second. ZVZ, even though you can get a scout up quickly, Zerg in general, you're going to get a scout up quickly since the Overlords are going to be the first thing to go out and check what's on the map. You can still disguise what you're doing by just keeping everything a little bit further back. They may not be anticipating this many Lings. It's a common trick among pros, but it still works at the highest level.
Well, you can see here, he's running it around both the Overlord scout pads, so this has not been scouted yet here from Nerchio, who is still making drones. Starts some more even right now, so he could be in a lot of trouble coming up here.
We may be speedrunning this this cast here, Artosis. The Lings are not going to come up just now, being spotted here by the Overlord. Two Banelings being produced. Now the Lings coming in, drones going to the ramp, and then being pulled back out to try to help defend as the Queen hatches.
All right, the Queens get up on the ramp. A very important moment here for Nerchio. That's a good place for him to try to defend. A couple Banelings coming over right now for Rogue, who's pressuring this hatchery, and it looks like he wants to break the ramp now.
You can see the Banelings coming in, doing a little bit of bruising here on those Queens. Some of the Queens trying to target that down as the rest of the Lings now spill in, breaching the defenses. The Queen can now easily be surrounded as the rest of the Lings come in, dive on that spine crawler, then back out as the drones are pulled over.
Oh man, Nerchio taking a lot of damage here so far with the Queens dying. This hatchery under assault once again. It's trying to build a Queen. It's making some Lings as well. Finally, he does get a spine up, so that definitely can help quite a bit, but control going to Rogue for the time being.
The hatchery getting lower. The Queen only about halfway done being produced. Link speed just now finishes as the Lings now come forward here from Rogue. Banelings coming into the surround. The spine crawler has not yet been broke. It is destroyed. And the Banelings connecting there. 10 drones going down. This looks to be the beginning of the end, Artosis.
13 drones there. Rogue just waiting for a moment, maybe guessing that Nerchio would move his spine crawler, and now Nerchio sitting here. Just 5 workers. He has his own Banelings, but that is not going to be enough.
The hatchery still very low. Few workers remaining alive here in the main. Nerchio desperately trying to split his Banelings up. It will not be enough. GG Rogue takes game number 1.
Oh my gosh, a 4-minute game to start off here. Rogue making his presence known, killing Nerchio right off. But you know what? He got a good build order off on Nerchio, who's trying to play a more macro-intensive game, taking that quick expansion. Not able to hold it, though.
It does seem that the Korean players are very comfortable rushing Nerchio.
Yeah.
I think Nerchio is somebody who wants to exhibit his strengths in a later part of the game. And the Koreans are saying, you got to play by my rules too, my friend. It's a mirror matchup. You have to be responding on some level to the way that we're going to be playing here. Granted, I think Rogue did a really good job disguising what he was doing back there. The Lings were not revealed until the last possible second.
Yeah.
But I think Nerchio just has to play a little bit more of a conservative game here.
But if he plays conservative in this next game, what happens if Rogue plays greedy? Then he's behind once again.
Well, that's the problem, and that's also the nature of a best of 3. You are getting more and more information about your opponent, but then that can be used against you as well. I don't know. I mean, everything's on the line right now for Nerchio. It's rough because we've built up to this entire moment over the year, but now that we're here, just a few days away before the BlizzCon WCS Global Finals, last 2 days, I should say. These have been very short, very brutal games for Nerchio.
Yeah.
He's not getting to play what he practiced.
Well, this is certainly not how he wants to exit the tournament. You know, if he's just dying to the Zerg players really, really quickly, he's not able to play these matchups that he feels a little bit more confident sometimes. Even though he has a great ZVZ record overall, it's a hard situation when you're playing against Su and Rogue, two of the absolute best Koreans.
Yeah, it's tough. Nerchio is somebody who's very good in all the matchups, but this is the nature of the beast here in this tournament format. That's what he's been given. That's the hand he's been dealt. And we now enter game number 2. In the bottom right, in the blue, our Zerg player from Poland, Nerchio. And his opponent here in the upper left, the last player to get into the WCS Global Finals from Korea, he is Rogue.
Will Rogue look to finish this off quickly? It doesn't look that way. You know, just looks like he might be going for hatchery first. In fact, both sides kind of going towards that. But no, Rogue actually going to go ahead and play a little bit more safely, whereas Nerchio, he's daring Rogue to rush him again with this hatchery first play.
Let's see if he lasts a little bit longer this time. That was about as fast as you can lose a high-level ZVZ in that last game.
Yeah.
Again, it's not to say that Nerchio isn't good. It's the build orders they're choosing when they start out and the risks that come with them.
Well, in this game, at least, Rogue has played with a safe build order, so Nerchio's completely fine. He's not going to die to Rogue's first attack. Rogue is going to get up his expansion a little bit later. So you have to give Nerchio a slight build order edge to open up at least.
Very true, very true. And perhaps we will get to that phase of the game that Nerchio wants to show us, the phase of the game he wants to leverage to get a victory here.
And I always do like it when we get into a slightly longer game of Europe Zerg versus Korean Zerg, because Korean Zergs are a little bit more roach-heavy. European Zergs, they like to add in some Infestors, maybe a few Ravagers on average than the average Korean Zerg. So it's kind of a clash of metas, a clash of styles between the two. And how this game is open so far, it definitely could go a bit longer.
Yeah, it certainly could. And Europe's always had a very altered way of playing Zerg. Europe definitely marches to its own beat with this race, which is very cool to see the different regions of the world and how their approach and understanding of each race and matchup on each map actually develops. So this should be super cool if we do go into a late game, assuming that Rogue allows that and Nerchio manages to get there.
Now look at this. Nerchio is making a spine crawler right now. Not something I would really expect at this point of the game. That is some really kind of extra line of defense, but by putting that up, there's really no way for Rogue to get too much damage done. And look, he is making a Baneling Nest, he is making a Plume of Lings right now, but Nerchio is already ready for everything.
Well, I think Nerchio, crossing his T's and dotting his I's, wants to take every precaution necessary to last in this game, because once again, Rogue is banking up a bunch of Zerglings. They are going to pop out on the map. In fact, they're moving out right now, going down to the bottom right side of the map. And we'll have to see. It looks like Nerchio should be at least more prepared than the previous game. It also depends on how well each player controls his unit. One slip of the finger on your mouse or when you're controlling, and this game can turn upside down. So we see these Lings now coming in here. They do have a surround here on the spine crawler. Queens coming up to try to block. Looks like the two Banelings that were being made were terminated before they managed to finish.
Some great targeting down on those Banelings. More Lings coming down here for Nerchio, and the hold is successful. That was really well done, and really, Rogue doesn't get any damage on. He kills a spine, a few Lings, and things like that, but throughout that attack, Nerchio was up by 5 drones until towards the end when Rogue got to drone up during it. So a little bit of that economic edge from early on carrying through for Nerchio.
Yeah, Nerchio surviving the initial attack. Now the action seesawing over to Rogue's side of the map. We have 5 Banelings being produced. 2 Banelings from Rogue coming down, though, to possibly intercept. It looks like they do, at least, one goes off. Not enough, though, to bruise anything of real importance. Splitting the Banelings up now, no real viable connects. Two Banelings now beginning to back off as the Queens are spotted over here just on the edge of the creep outside Rogue's natural.
Seems like Nerchio just not with enough lings to really push in there and get any damage done, but he will go ahead and take a third base at home. He's got a lot of Banelings he can use defensively and is continuing to drone himself up a bit. But of course, during all of this, the to and fro of droning has occurred, and Rogue has really caught up in economy.
So that third hatchery for Nerchio coming up a little bit more quickly than that of Rogue's, but Rogue reacting right away, now hiding two Banelings here in the upper right for a possible worker or maybe even Zergling interception here to try to get a good connect and take that out. We'll see if Nerchio is prepared for that. It's not just about the engagements with the armies versus each other, but sometimes these counterattacks where the player might not be watching. If your eyes aren't on the right part of the minimap and controlling everything perfectly, you can lose this game in a heartbeat.
Oh, especially in ZVZ. The Banelings can just be so unforgiving, but it looks like we're starting to get past that Zergling Baneling phase. Even though a few more are being made, the Roach Warrens are coming up on both sides, and that's going to be really valuable. But the way right now that we see Rogue playing, no layer, and we don't have any attack upgrades yet, so he might be going for like a massive Ling Roach attack.
So we see the Lings rotating around, the three Banelings also following suit, as Nerchio is going to try to defend two locations at once. The Lings spilling in over here and now going into the main. Nothing to defend just yet. A fight does happen here at the ramp, and it looks like Nerchio so far has enough. But back over at the third, more Lings are spilling in. I don't see any Banelings here to try to take out these Lings of Rogues.
Well, the Queen's in a great position there, slowing down these Zerglings as the Roaches come down, getting some pot shots here. The Queens end up dying, but Nerchio stays alive. Gets that +1 attack way ahead of Rogue and is getting Roach speed. So there's some really positive things happening for Nerchio in this game.
Once again, Rogue's Lings now coming down for another attack over at the third. We don't have any drones here, or at least not many, mining just yet, so it's not as impactful as it could have been. But with those drones now transferred, I guess I'm going to have to eat my words. Okay, now that the drones are there, he can actually do some serious damage, forcing Nerchio's Roaches to turn around. Rogue is doing a great job of keeping Nerchio on the defense. Anytime Nerchio tries to move out, the Roaches are then roped back into turning around. And Rogue is looking for another opening here. Remember, you have to defend the third base and the natural, which also can give them access to the main. So if you don't have everything in the right spot at the right time, you will get breached.
Well, right now, with Rogue coming across the map, I'm not sure what he's going to be able to get done. +1 just finished for Nerchio, which means his Roaches will two-shot those Zerglings and also fight better against his opponent's Roaches. That speed upgrade on the way as well, but a very nice run by Rogue, getting into the main base here and starting to deal some significant damage.
The drones are going to be under threat, or the Queen almost taken out. The Roaches continue to spill in here, and the rest of that attack was denied. It's a good thing he managed to get there in time, because had those drones been taken out, that would have been huge. We have the missile attack almost finishing up here for Rogue as Ravagers are now coming into play.
Oh, I am loving this by Nerchio, though. He has his Roach speed well ahead of Rogue and is starting to attack. A nice counterattack by Rogue, trying to buy some time, trying to force Nerchio to keep some units at home, but Nerchio is going to try to attack here.
Yeah, Nerchio trying to bully his way in, but with these reinforcements forced to stay back and defend, he's not able to get to the big picture of his strategy. Rogue's Lings continuing to move nimbly around the map, and now the smaller army of Nerchio up top is being chased away. Nerchio responds with another attack down here at the bottom.
Oh, very nice plays by Nerchio. He's trying to make Rogue do a poor split on his army, but Rogue's defense is very strong indeed. He's got a similarly sized amount of units and is even harassing in the meantime. It feels like Rogue is starting to get ahead here.
He really is. I think there was a lot of opportunity in what Nerchio was trying to do, but the execution and defense there from Rogue was stellar.
And he continues to do it, but Nerchio, he is going to continue to try to split up and get some damage done. Some of these Roaches being caught, but the rest of them circling back around. But no, look at this. Rogue has a bunch of Roaches at his third base still.
It's important that Nerchio tries to come in here and poke, but he also manages to escape with enough of his army. You can kill a lot of workers and feel like you're ahead until the counterattack comes, and you don't have a big enough army. Rogue now with explosive energy on the map is pushing out. We see all of the forces here of Nerchio retreating In fact, I believe he just sniped the drone that was headed up north to try to take the gold base, an important moment. He's got another drone queued up there now. But let's see if Nerchio is actually ready for this battering ram of roaches moving across the map now, and if he can get in the right position to deal with it.
Even catching a few roaches there as they rallied up. Nerchio trying to hold on. This gigantic amount of roaches from Rogue, though, dealing a ton of damage to the army of Nerchio. Is this going to be his last stand at BlizzCon?
It seemed like Nerchio had a good surround, but the numbers do favor Rogue now. GG!